Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Adventures in Arcane Space. Once again, I am your Dungeon Master, AuldDragon, and the players are...
Hi, I'm David Big Mac Shepherd. I play Braxon, who's a human fighter from an asteroid near Brow.
Hi, Daikami-sama, and I play Solas, who is half-elven cleric mage.
I'm James. I play Ockar, human paladin of Brawl.
Hi, I'm Kichikun. I play Sinrae, a courier.
Levalithana, an elven wild mage.
Hi, Lafdul Minglade. Yeah, I'm Zach, and I play Lafdul Minglade. He's an elven specialty priest thief from Realm Space. His title's something to do with the master of too many things too heavy.
Are you sure that's not,
It's not a good title. He's
Higgimus?
just...
You sure?
Mm.
I mean, he's pretty much the master... Oops. He's pretty much the master of weighty things.
He's usually the master of weightlessness, because he puts everything in the pouch and doesn't weigh anything.
I think that
these things
you
are
may be
just too
trying to
big.
steal Higgimus's title and might be a little clash. Anyway, the player of Higgimus is out today. He had an emergency come up. Yeah, so we left off last time. You guys were just you just landed outside the fire giant town they're holding, and you disguised your flitter, hopefully well enough.
Hopefully.
So what do you guys want to do? How do you want to approach the town?
You storm in, weapons drawn. Ockar wants to
I
go.
agree with that.
No.
If there's no survivors, we've done the task. The conflict's been
Yeah,
resolved.
no, that's a bad idea.
Are
I'm
you
just channeling a bit
absolutely
of Ockar.
sure that the conflict would be resolved if that happened?
I don't even know what the conflict is. I kind of forgot.
I think your
it's-
title this week should be Leroy Jenkins, if you want to do that.
Yeah.
The conflict was mostly because the fire giant's thrall, there was thrall that was causing trouble. And we were asked to deal with it, if possible, diplomatically.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess Sinrae's
The
in charge.
peasants are the peasants are revolting, and the fire giant leaders are blaming the other giants.
Maybe they just need to take a bath.
So we need to find out
And,
why they're...
And also we were given a very specific warning that do not take what they say seriously when they insult us, so Ockar, pay attention to that.
Okay.
Don't make us have to put a silence spell on you.
I mean, otherwise you might
Yeah,
have
but if
to
Ockar gets...
otherwise you might have to duel the whole village.
If Ockar gets flipped off, then he's still going to react. So it doesn't matter if you're silent. You've got to make him blind as well.
Well, I mean, he's silent, then he can't hear anything that they're saying to him.
Yeah.
No, he's talking about a hand gesture.
Yeah, but they have different hand
It
gestures.
only requires one finger.
They have different hand gestures.
Like, no, Ockar, that's how giants say hello. It's fine.
As you're snickering to yourself, seems legit.
Well, I think our first plan of action should be to see the Jarl, since we were told to tell him privately that we were sent by the Oracle.
Well, we do have our singing telegram.
Singing telegram.
Sinrae gives
Wow.
you such a look.
There's armistice in our group.
Yes, I think our first matter of business should be to see the Jarl, and then make a plan.
And using your courier background, we could get audience with the Jarl.
We
Lying?
Yeah, let's see if we can just get an audience first before we start inventing stories.
Are you telling me about the time that we killed a demon?
I'm sure they'll be very.
Then they want to put your words to the test.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll kill anything.
Yeah, but then someone might get upset, and might. I don't know. If they respect strength,
I
then
don't
that might be a
think
good thing.
I don't think Ockar wants to deal with all the fire giants in this village. Plus the trolls they have tamed, so to speak.
Yeah, trolls would be an issue. They regenerate.
We don't want to have anyone possibly friendly challenging you to a duel because they
I don't think he's not allowed to accept. He has to accept, doesn't he?
So you're saying that the trolls would be the bigger threat than the fire giants?
For
Yeah.
the people that don't have the ability to kill them, yes.
Yes, because trolls regenerate.
I
Oh,
feel like
shall
I
we-
haven't appropriately thrown trolls at you yet, which may be a part of the reason why you're
We've had
overestimating their threat compared to the giants.
Yeah, the trolls we can kill. The giants we've already learned are harder to kill.
I don't
Okay,
think you,
let's-
I don't think you've ever thrown giants at us.
Oh, just a couple of random
We-
causalities on their weapons.
Well, we
and
did
they're
fight
easy.
those fire giants.
Like we just fought some fire giants.
can
Yeah, but
we
you've never thrown trolls at us.
All right,
can
so
we
how do you
get
guys
any idea?
want to approach it? What are you asking, Braxon? Sorry.
Can we get an idea of where the Jarl might live
In the big
before we
hut.
go in?
Well, from your view of the town coming in and then landing, you could see that it basically has two levels, kind of thing. There's a lower town and an upper town. The upper town is absolutely dominated by an enormous hall and some smaller outbuildings and stuff like that. So you
the
would
old
guess that the Jarl's Hall is that big building up at the top.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah,
I-
that would be a very likely guess.
Sinrae just says, "I think the big building is where we want to go."
Right. Well,
Well,
can
they're
we
all big.
Let's
Well,
just
the biggest
ahead.
building.
from where we are? Can we get to a point where we can plan our route in to minimise our time spent wandering around this city of big giants?
Well, I mean, it looks like there is a main thoroughfare from the gates up to that hall that you saw, and
Right.
you can kind of see the tops of the buildings. I mean, now that you've landed, you're basically seeing these enormous, tall wooden palisade walls, and it kind of makes a semicircle, and it's butting up against a mountain.
Right. Okay. Well, then I suggest we avoid the side streets and go up and see what time the Jarl takes
We'll
visitors.
probably be escorted. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the gates are closed, so you'll need to approach the gates.
Let's just
Yeah,
say we-
and
Unless
Knocking
you-
won't exactly work.
Unless you
I
want to
suggest that
try
we-
some other way to get in.
I
No.
suggest we avoid anything that would be considered suspicious.
it's our best.
Yeah.
Oh, so
That
I'm
sounds
out then,
reasonable.
Lafdul says.
Well,
But-
let's go up to the gates and ask what time though
There's no one
Let
there,
people
though, is there?
see the Jarl. Oh, there'll be someone on guard.
There's probably someone on guard. Probably our best bet, yes, is to approach the gates and to ask entry.
Oh, I don't have my
Ask
no
audition
custom
with
spell.
the-
I should have memorized that. Oh well.
Audience with the Jarl.
Oh, let's head to the gates.
What if they take our weapons? Just FYI.
Well, then some of us will have weapons hidden on us. Sinrae says, looking at Lafdul. And everybody else will have to improvise. But
Have you
since-
ever searched me?
Since this is a diplomatic mission, she looks at Braxon and Ockar. we shouldn't need our weapons, right?
Braxon raises an eyebrow and says, "Of course. Have we all
Hey.
got peace knots on? Let's put peace
I'm
knots
carrying
on.
my weapons. Who knows what might happen?
Let's put
Okay.
peace knots.
They might try to
Well,
punch you in the
they,
face.
Well, you don't necessarily need to carry a weapon because you have the ring that can summon a weapon.
Oh
That's
yeah, that's good for Ockar.
Ockar, if the fire giants want to confiscate our weapons while we're in the city, you're going to let them.
I
Okay.
suppose we're only tiny little humans. What do
Fine,
they fear
but-
from tiny little humans?
Let me change something. I'm going to
Right.
quickly slip the ring off the longsword and slip it onto the long spear.
Oh. Ockar gets impaled by a summoned spear.
And you're gonna leave the spear in the flitter?
Yeah, I'm gonna leave the spears behind, but it's gonna be like the thing where I can summon it if needed.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
Right, let's approach the front gate. Let's approach the main gates.
That's where someone finds the spear and takes the ring off.
Braxton says, "Well, hang on. If you can summon that, you don't need to leave it here. You can take it with you. If they let you keep it, you keep it, and if they confiscate it off you, you can get it back off them if you need to."
I don't know if they'll take the ring off. They might have spellcasters.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I don't know, I think we're overcomplicating this. I
Yes.
shouldn't have
Yeah.
mentioned that.
Yeah.
All right.
That rod that Braxton's got, does it look like a weapon?
use it like a walking
it
stick.
looks like a very strange plain scepter when it's not in any form. In that form, you can use it as a mace.
Yeah.
Remember?
Can I use my hat of disguise to change my appearance to conceal my weapons? So I got like an overcoat or something, or some kind of like, I don't know, poncho that covers them up or something.
I'm gonna say that no, because it doesn't let you just change your clothes. You need to like change everything. If you change everything, then yeah.
All right,
not-
Lafdul.
Don't think they're going to be giving us a pat down. Sinrae is
Yeah,
pretty
we're
much-
too big.
she's using her
Look at the
belt
smaller
to
ones
hide
do
it against her stomach, her dagger against her stomach.
I got a wrist sheath for my dagger if need be, anyway. So
All right, so you guys
Just look at
satisfied
my
with your
magic.
preparations?
Spellcaster is never
Yeah.
truly
Yes,
unarmed.
let's head to the front gate.
Yeah, if the fire giants take Braxton's weapons, he'll just have to take one of their weapons.
Just have to punch people.
Take one of their weapons, yeah.
bite their toe.
Yes.
Good
Wrestle
Well,
them.
it's a good thing I have my weapon teleporting ring.
Oh, see how it is now.
All right, so you
so let's
Braxton's going to put a peace knot on his sword.
all right.
I
And
can
then-
hold a load of
I-
daggers in my pouch if you want. If people
Which
pass me the
sword
daggers.
are you talking about?
Oh, sorry.
Because
Um,
the sword you typically use only appears when you change the rod into
True.
a sword.
Yeah, so just use it as a walking stick or something.
Well, it's a
True,
little bit too
true,
short
true.
It's a
for
very
that.
fancy walking stick, but
It's too
He
short
can
for that.
extend it,
oh.
Like I said, it's the size of a scepter.
but
Yeah.
he can press a button and it elongates.
right, sorry.
I think we're getting distracted. Let's
Like
head
he's
to
got
the
that
front
ladder
gate.
function. He can just press a button and
Yeah,
then
but is
press
there
it
any
off
real
and it'll
point to
talk-
that?
disguise as a walking stick.
As
Can't
Sinrae is
too small.
saying, you guys may be overthinking things.
We're
This
getting
happens
distracted.
a lot.
We
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's just go in on.
I'll be right
yeah,
back.
I shouldn't have
Yes.
pulled that up. I guess.
Let's just go clearly showing that we are peaceful.
Okay.
That we are coming so that we do not intend to cause any disruptions.
We're at the front gate.
All right, so you cross an open area. They've clearly cleared the surrounding area of any trees so that they can see attackers coming. And the grass in this area is fairly short as well.
Braxton's going to wave when we get into that sort of range.
dear.
You shoot your hand, they think you're attacking.
They
You are insulting their mothers.
They are not waving back.
Sinrae is going to call out, "Hail, good giants! We seek entry and audience with your Jarl."
You see the head of an armored giant with a black beard, a long black beard, peer over the top of the palisade, and he shouts down in a very booming voice, "What was that? Speak up! I couldn't hear you."
Sinrae at
you hear
her
him
loudest.
clearly. Hold on. You hear him clearly, then turn to someone else and whisper, "Stupid small folk, never can speak loud enough for us to hear."
Sinrae sort of sighs, and then in her loudest voice, "Hail, good sirs! We seek entry into your city and an audience with your good Jarl."
What for?
Sinrae has an answer, but give me a second. My mind just went.
Braxon shouts up and says, "This lady's a messenger. She has a message for him. She's not allowed to give it to anyone else."
A message from who?
Unfortunately, good sir, I am not, due to the way my fellowship works, I cannot divulge that to anyone but the good Jarl. I assure you, it's of the utmost importance. Since technically, she does have a message since the oracle.
The giants. This time you cannot make out what they're saying, so you're guessing that when he whispered before, he was intentionally doing a loud, a stage whisper. You hear him converse with. I mean, you can hear that he's conversing with someone, but you can't make out what he's saying.
Is it too low for the thieves to make a listen check?
Do you want to try it?
Yeah.
There we go.
What's
the
your
thief and the bard with the checks.
What's your score?
Mine's not that good actually. 45.
And Sinrae?
Oh, it's better than something.
Mine's 50.
Unfortunately, no, you can't make out what they're saying.
Oh well.
Well,
worth a try.
The giant peers back over the top of the palisade and says, "We'll have to send someone up to the Jarl, but if you can't tell us who, I don't think he'll be much interested in hearing out what you got to say." You responsible?
tell your good Jarl that it's a message dealing with the troubles he's been having of late. And divulge.
Oh, so you brought the medicine.
What?
Braxon whispers to Sinrae, "I don't think we're supposed to be talking about what we're here for. The
Right.
idea is to..."
Oh, but
The idea-
just saying the troubles. It could be a message from anybody.
Yeah.
No, but you need to clarify that you're not, I guess.
I
You
mean,
don't want to give off the wrong impression.
we could go with the medicine part. Guys, do you guys want me to go with lying or?
Look,
Who
you've
you
dug
got?
this grave. I'm letting you dig yourself out of it.
No, this is not to do with any medicine.
Oh, it's a real shame, because let me tell you, when he grumbles about his feet, it's nothing you want to hear about. You hear some loud guffaws from behind the walls.
Well, it also happens we do have some trained herbalists in our group. while I'm delivering the message.
Lafdul comments say train poison here in the making.
She
I
stomps.
probably get a lot of evil
Shut up,
looks.
shut up.
She stomps on his foot while I'm delivering the message.
Oh, I don't need my foot getting hurt.
One of them could see about treating his problem.
Well, if you got herbalists, they got anything to make that little pupper down there taste good? 'Cause he could be roasted up real nice.
No, the dire wolf is
That's
not
what it
for
is.
eating.
Dire wolf? That's more like a little pupper. He'd be nice and tender, wouldn't he?
You're not touching him.
Unfortunately, we are rather attached to Beowulf.
Ah, it's a shame. That's a shame.
Solas will whisper to Ockar that they are just trying to irk you.
It's an innocent statement. They probably do eat them, but
Yeah,
keep
but
glaring.
I think in this case they are purposefully trying to.
put us on edge.
Well, we've sent someone to the Jarl. If you'll just wait down there, or, you know, if you'd rather come inside and sit down for dinner, we'd be more than happy to have you.
Right.
Sinrae sort of yes, we will take you up on your invitation.
What, you
It's been a long
We-
walk.
want them to
we
eat
don't-
us?
We don't
You
want to be
what?
invited
No.
to be eaten.
No, she's ignoring the joke and taking it as face value
Oh god.
because she's being sort of like she knows they're joking.
They're probably
Does
not joking.
she?
They might not be joking. We don't know.
You might have given them permission to eat you.
Oh, I don't think guys. Ugh.
I mean, you don't know their humor.
Yeah.
Say the one time no customs might have been useful, but it's on a giant. What was a giant 15th hit die creature?
No, it depends on the individual giant.
You might as well try.
I don't have it memorized because I didn't think we would be arriving today.
Right.
As long as we are not the main course or the second course or dessert, we'd be happy to have dinner with you.
Well, in that case, you're staying out there.
Because he looked disappointed.
Oh, he sounds disappointed.
Well,
Sinrae sort of turns back to the group and like in a very quiet voice, I hate dealing with giants.
No, you don't.
She gives him a look.
so which one of us you think they were planning on eating first?
The wolf.
Wolf.
Yeah.
They came anywhere near him.
You. Oh, it's a shame you didn't bring that spear. They probably take your spear and think, oh, you've brought a shish kebab.
Let's just kebab you.
This is going to go swimmingly.
I hope one of you knows how to treat foot problems.
Yeah, you,
That's
you
up to
cut the foot
Lafdul.
off.
He's the best herbalist and healer.
You cut the foot off, right?
She
What the
looks towards Solas. Solas, do you know how to treat foot problems?
Well, it all
Oh.
depends on what kind of problem it is.
After just doesn't want to deal with giant feet.
I've got to admit, I'd be interested to see a giant knife and fork. They have such a thing.
This is
probably a
If you keep going, then you might
If you ask,
You
then
might
they'll
see
give
them
you a nice up
very close
person.
up.
Yeah, I would suggest that whenever they say something, you think very carefully the letter of what they are saying instead of the spirit of what they are saying.
Yeah. No, I'm just wondering. If a giant fork could be used as a weapon, or a knife.
Probably.
Probably bigger than you are.
A giant knife might work as a glaive.
Just be glad all the giant feet here are attached to bodies and not hopping around by themselves.
Wait, that's
It's
possible.
weird. You don't want to see it.
So
I'm wondering where you've been.
Very strange places, Ockar. Very strange places.
you're kept waiting for about a half an hour.
Mhm.
And
Is there anywhere for us to sit down?
I mean, there's the ground.
There's various tree limbs, no doubt, or something. I don't know.
Is there anything like a milestone?
No. I mean, there's some
Can I-
rocks around that you could probably, one or two of
If
you could
there's
sit on.
some waiting, is it possible for me to climb up into a tree that isn't so obvious?
You would have to go back to the forest.
Yeah, they got the forest down.
They're probably
so
watching
they
us,
have-
so.
Oh,
Bra-
oh no,
Braxon,
yes,
yeah.
they are definitely watching you. You can see them up above the palisade.
Braxon wants to find a rock to sit down on so that he looks like he's relaxed and not being
All right, since we're
messed about with.
potentially, I suppose,
Solas
Leva and
just-
Solas will all, and myself, will try to come up with some theory crafting with fungal problems or something that might be an issue.
So, Braxon, as you sit down on a rock, the giant calls down, "Oh, is the little man tired? Have we
Braxon
kept you
laughs.
waiting?"
Yeah, you should say, yeah, very, very tired. Won't be good eating. Just the more challenging and spunky you are, the more they want to eat you. So
Are you not responding at all?
I mean, he said that Braxon is laughing.
Okay, I missed that.
Yeah, Braxton laughed at him and shouted up, "Very funny!
Yes, I am, aren't I?
You certainly are."
You sure you wouldn't want to come in for dinner?
Oh, quite sure.
Yes, quite sure.
Ah, it's a shame. I'm sure our hounds would be more than happy to gnaw on you. You can hear some howling from back behind the wall. It is a howling not that you've heard before, and it kind of sends a chill down your spine. The howling sounds evil, most definitely evil. There is something special to it that you have not heard before.
none
Ockar-
of us have met
Ockar-
like hellhounds, have we?
Ockar narrows his eyes at the evil howling.
Sinrae sort of says under her breath to the party, that diplomatic solution is looking less and less possible. Lovely. Actually
Yeah.
going to take out her mandolin and start playing a song, mostly to keep the party from mind off the evil howling.
If you fail to impress them with your musical talent, they might just eat you to put their music away.
Yeah, if you roll like a 20 or something, we might be screwed.
Oh, a little musical accompaniment for dinner. Well, that's nice of you. He shouts
Sinrae
down to you.
plays loud. Sinrae
Play the
plays,
dirge.
Sinrae plays aggressively louder.
You can hear some clapping from behind the walls, like a clapping
Oh.
accompaniment.
Nice.
Oh,
She's. See, I don't think it'd be reasonable for her to know any giant songs, unfortunately.
No,
But
you've
she's
never,
going to
you've never
Like
encountered
Marvel.
these giants anyway. So you
yeah, she's going to be playing a lot of songs about battle and stuff like that. A lot of spirited battle songs, because that seems to be something they'd like.
So after about a half an hour passes, you hear some conversation from behind the wall, and then the giant's face appears again over the wall, and he shouts down, "All right, the Jarl will see you."
Thank you, good
Very-
sir.
We will be watching and ready to step on you if you try anything, though.
Of course, I wouldn't expect otherwise.
There's a great loud groaning and creaking as the door, the gate, the gate into the palisade slowly.
Does a gate make it
open.
saving throw? It sounds like it's in misrepair.
The
No,
game must
it's
have heard
just
one of my jokes.
very, very heavy. So the door swings open, and you see 4 plate-armored giants standing there. At least a dozen smaller creatures as well. A mixture of giants and cyclops. And you can see much better into the town now. The buildings are a mixture of wood and stone structures. Most of the roofing is thatch with some wooden and slate shingles on some of the buildings. And you can see, in addition to the fire giants, the cyclops, and the trolls that you've already seen, you can see some large hounds, bigger than Beowulf, with blackish red fur, and like every time they exhale, there's a kind of a sooty cloud that forms. And there are also a number of other giants, similarly sized to the fire giants, but they have paler skin, a bit more of a jutting lower jaw, sloping forehead, and tend to have cruder clothes. And many of them have either tattoos on their shoulders or iron collars with loops on them, and they seem to be doing primarily menial labor.
Ray
So
says,
they've got-
"Yep, they've got slaves."
Yeah.
So with the gate open, one of the fire giants steps forward and says, "All right, follow us. Don't try anything. We'll be watching you carefully."
Of course.
Right.
Do the Cyclops look the same as the Cyclops in the other place?
Yeah, but most of them have either tattoos on their shoulders or more of these iron collars.
Ah, right. So they look like they're slaves, whereas the other ones are free. Right. Got it.
Play.
As a group, they begin to escort you through the town. As they do so, these reddish-black hounds start, many of them start barking at you fiercely, and especially seem to be barking at Beowulf. Ockar, Beowulf's, you can tell that his hackles are rising, and he's growling a bit.
I'm going to try to comfort him by petting him a bit as we walk.
Okay.
What's the bottom of the buildings like? Does it look like we'd be able to climb underneath them? If we needed to sneak around?
Most of them, no. I mean, they're not raised up in any way, as far as you can tell. Some of the wooden buildings have stone foundations, whereas other wooden buildings seem to just be wood down to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You might, if you looked around them, you might be able to find the equivalent of a mouse hole, but you're not sure if they'd be big enough for you to get in.
Okay, Braxton's going to keep an eye out for anything like a sewer.
Okay. That seems unlikely. The street that you're walking is hard-packed earth.
Right.
They've probably got a train or something. They wouldn't have a sewer.
Yeah. It's just Braxton's planning an emergency route out if he can think of one.
And everything is enormous to you. I mean, these giants are towering over you. The buildings are towering over you. The doors into these buildings are at least 20 feet tall. for example.
Sinrae is going to say quietly to whoever's next to her, "What have we gotten ourselves into?"
Something bad.
So you're escorted up the to the upper level of the town and brought before the enormous hall. The doors are almost as large as the doors into the palisade were, the gate. And the building has a stone foundation and wooden walls. The roofing is slate tile, and it is an enormous structure, dwarfing even the other ones. You can see that it's long enough to hold, you would guess, dozens of giants, depending on what the interior is like. And the giants stop outside. The building is very well made. There is ornate carvings along the wall, many of which feature a figure, a male figure with a great flowing beard and an enormous two-handed sword covered in flames. They leave you outside as one of the giants says, "All right, I'll go in and announce you. The Jarl is in a meeting right now, but as soon as he is finished, we'll escort you in."
Thank you, good
Braxon-
sir.
Braxton says thank you. It looks for somewhere to sit.
There really is nowhere to sit.
Keep standing. You might insult them if you sit down. Can I roll an etiquette for what to do in front of the Jarl?
Sure.
Etiquette, where are you?
Can you like confer with
Ow,
Higgimus?
ow, 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 Roddy. Sorry, my cat decided to bite me. Do you want me to roll it, or do you want me to just tell you my score?
You can roll. Well, give me a GM roll, actually. Sorry.
Sorry,
It's okay.
I already rolled it.
Yeah, give me a GM roll though.
Solas will just observe his surroundings with great interest.
Mm.
Ow.
Okay. You to a certain extent, I mean, this person is a ruler, so you would, treat them with respect, and things of that nature. But you really have no idea what special things you might want to do with a giant leader, a fire giant leader especially. So it's more of just a be on your best behavior kind of thing.
She quietly relates that to everyone.
Braxton says, I'm always on my best behaviour, and winks at her.
Braxon, I know where you sleep.
Solas sighs and mumbles, "That's what I'm worried about."
To remind you, Braxon, I know where you sleep, and if you get us killed, you'll be dead too, and there'll be nobody around to resurrect us.
That's true.
So one of the giants has gone inside, closed the door behind him. The other giants are standing around, looking at you, and they appear to be they start conversing with each other in a language that you don't recognize. There are a handful of trolls in the group as well that you think they're kind of slavering over you a bit. Definitely, you get the impression that they are picturing you being eaten by them. But every time one of the giants kind of looks their way, you see them kind of cringe back. The trolls are definitely scared of the giants.
Am I able to use... can I use Detect Evil Intent while I'm walking?
No, you have to stand and focus.
Okay, because I was thinking about using it on the giants, but I guess I can't.
Well,
I think
now you're
apparently,
standing
isn't it?
around outside the hall.
Yeah.
I think the trolls have got evil intent.
Oh, so we're not. So we're not walking right now.
You
Then
made
I
it.
guess
Waiting.
I'll use a bit of detect evil intent.
Okay. On what? Who?
One of the giants that was escorting us.
You do not detect evil intent from that giant.
Okay.
Probably being lawful at the moment and being their leader. Got no reason not to.
If you want to find evil intent, just focus on the trolls.
Yeah, they're more primal.
They are.
I'll look over at the trolls. And
that should be obvious.
Oh yeah. There's evil intent there.
You should
I
try
mean-
it on the Jarl, is who we most likely would be worrying about.
Yeah, I'll try it on the Jarl once we meet.
But doesn't he have to stare?
Solas will just whisper to Ockar when he's trying to detect evil intent from trolls. I believe they are thinking about eating us.
Yeah. I'll try it on the Jarl as well.
Now, as you're doing that one of the you can see that one of the giants is looking at you intently as well, because you are holding your holy symbol up and focusing, and he is eyeing
trying
you
to
very
detect
suspiciously.
He's trying to detect good intent.
I look over at the giant and say, "Sorry, force of habit."
You can. Oh god.
You were just checking out whether they were serious about eating you.
I was supposed to you to say something. No, he's just praying to his god.
Yes, I was praying to my god and getting a general sense of the vibe around the room.
Couldn't tell him that probably.
The giant grunts and says, "Don't worry. One day your god will be dead at the feet of Surtur."
You know what their deity is now? Does anyone know Surtur?
Yes, Surtur, the god of fire giants.
You actually know.
Oh,
Father.
Ockar knows. Ockar knows.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't even need to roll a religion check. That name is familiar to Ockar.
I know of Surtur.
He kind of gives you a cocked eyebrow. You do? Well, maybe you should join our faith then.
No, I prefer Tyr.
That stops his laugh dead. And he looks at
So he's like,
Yeah.
This is gonna be fun.
Ockar, I think we shall leave the theological conversation with the giants.
He's the one who brought up Surtur.
Yeah, but you've just announced that you're an enemy of their faith.
Anyway,
Yeah.
they're at home. You are a guest.
I'm just stating the facts. I'm just gonna cross my arms and lean against the wall.
Where's Higgimus, by the way?
Higgimus is here. He's joining in on the conversations, but because his player isn't here, he's not going to be doing anything in particular to contribute.
Okay.
Higgimus
It could be worse. I could be a follower of Thor, and Thor's the one who actively goes around fighting giants all the time.
yes, Sinrae is just sort of like,
You're actually saying that
oh
out loud.
dear.
No, well, no, I'm just
No,
saying
he's
that
not.
out of character.
Yeah.
It would be a lot worse if I was a cleric of Thor.
There's also the advantage that Tyr and Surtur don't actually come to blows in the prophesied Ragnarok. So
Yeah, they don't even fight each other, so all they know, the only thing that they're worried about is that I'm a follower of one of the Aesir.
Braxon says to the giant, "Nice architecture you got here. Where'd you get your trees from?"
He just points to the forest, probably.
yes, he literally just does that. He looks down at you, kind of the way that you would a 3-year-old who's just asked for like where rain comes from or something like that, or you know, a childish question, and he just points his hand out beyond the walls to the forest, and then says, "Where do you think?"
Sinrae
Okay.
said, "I'm sorry about them, but they come in handy in a fight, but still trying to work on other parts."
Come in handy in a fight? Well, I'd like to see that. I'm sure
I'll be
we could
happy to show
smash
you.
them in
Not
Shush.
minutes.
The challenge has been thrown.
not today. I don't think there'll be any fighting today.
Well, maybe tomorrow then. Always up for a good round of brawling.
Fortunately, good sir, I think you would have the advantage.
I wouldn't be so sure of that.
Oh,
Shush, Ockar.
Ockar, do you have a death wish?
Fine.
Okay, you can challenge one of them later.
Also, Solas
Yes,
makes a
yes,
mental
after our
Solas
meeting,
makes a
of
mental
course.
note to teach Braxon some common sense.
That's gonna be a 7-part lesson.
I didn't say it was a mental note. He didn't.
Some of us
Oh.
were trying to change the subject from.
I think
Yeah,
Fights.
but obvious questions.
so. Solas, you should start with Ockar, and when you succeed there, then you can continue with Braxon and tell him that was the example with Ockar.
Ockar has common sense.
Ockar is at the moment being taught etiquette by Sinrae, so he would be over burdened with the new knowledge.
Maybe.
Sinrae, in trying to obviously change the subject, asks the fire giant, does your Jarl enjoy music?
Oh, aye, he does. I think your small fingers might make music that's a little too high-pitched for him, though.
Yes, I could see how that would be a problem.
You would need something like a drum or something.
I don't have one of those.
You can make one.
No,
I mean, they've probably got drums. but it'd be
yeah,
too
I
big
don't.
for you.
I don't have. Yeah, I don't have it. I don't have that skill.
Don't bards just have a general knowledge of
No.
instruments?
No.
No.
You have to have specific knowledge. You can't just say, "Oh yeah, I know how to play drums. I'll just pick up this guitar."
No, not necessarily. Alright.
No.
Parts can't do that. No, they're different.
Yeah, no, she's very flute and mandolin are her two specialties. Sinrae's pretty much going to try to keep up small talk with
Lafdul mentions to Lever, do they like chilies? Do they like hot stuff? In your culinary experience, would you know if giants eat hot stuff?
Old? Does Lever know?
You don't know anything about what giants like.
Mm.
But
they like
give
people.
me a cooking proficiency check, please, Leva.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't seen anything around here that like obviously there's a lot of plants around here that you don't recognize. Some of it because they're big, but you haven't seen anything around here that looks like peppers or chilies to you.
Yeah, it's not tropical enough. It's too dry.
This is most definitely. Well, actually, it's humid. It's pretty humid.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty humid in this area. But
No, I was just thinking of something that they might like to eat. I was thinking hot foods.
They do have trades, don't they?
Yeah, but
Trade
there's...
for it.
I mean, they could trade for it, but you haven't seen anything like that either here or back in the other town.
Okay.
But that that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have it,
We only
or they
went
don't
to, like...
have access to it or anything like that. Just so you haven't seen anything like that.
So Leva says, tells Lafdul, I haven't seen anything like that. So they may, but I don't think so.
I was thinking of an idea, so I guess that's gone out the window.
So after about 2 hours of the giants eyeing you suspiciously and periodically hurling insults at you for being, small babies, children, talking about how their hounds could easily tear apart Beowulf, that sort of thing. The great doors to the hall open up, and a different giant comes out and says, "The Jarl see you now."
Thank you.
Good.
And he leads you in. They have not made any move to take your weapons or anything like that.
Yeah.
I doubt they are that worried about them.
I
So you
think
can-
we're not a threat.
Make of that what you will.
What do the doors look like when we go in?
They are heavy wooden doors. It's a dark wood, maybe an oak or a pine of some sort. And they're banded with iron. They are extremely sturdy. Braxon, you would say that those doors would stand up to just about anything you could think of that you could throw at them, given your scale. Giants may have an easier time of breaking them down or something like that, though.
Is there some sort of locking mechanism that Braxon can see without looking like he's looking for it?
Yeah, I mean, like, you can just kind of do a kind of an ooh kind of, looking around at the architecture kind of thing, and get a surreptitious glance. The doors can be barred from the inside, and
I suppose the bars are above our height.
Way above your height, and
Strength range.
The scale of it, like the log used to do that, or the board used to do that, to you looks like it would make a good mainmast on a galleon.
Right.
Like, it is thick, it is long, it is a good piece of wood.
So we're not getting out of here very easily without them letting us out.
The best you could do is, you think some of you might be able to crawl under the door when it was closed, like on your hands and knees, not even on your hands and knees, but on your belly, a belly crawl. But you don't think Higgimus could do that for sure. You're not sure that Ockar could either, or Beowulf.
We need to find a mouse hole if there is need for a quick escape.
Braxon mutters to Aleve, have you got any spells that make people smaller?
Yes, but not enough for everybody.
2's the minimum we get away with.
I have a shrink animal spell.
Oh.
Do you have it memorized?
No, I've got it on the scroll.
Oh, okay.
It's not a spell that I've accessed. It's animals.
So
I have one reduce.
you the doors open into kind of a floor area, and you see 2 fully armored fire giant guards. The armor looks nicer. Their helmets have feather plumes on them of some sort. The feathers are as tall as Ockar is. You're not sure exactly what kind of feathers they are, though. Although they're not dyed in any way. I'm sorry?
Do they look valuable?
Maybe, but it's outside of your expertise. You would have to examine them, which would be a little bit hard. But these 2 warriors clearly seem like like personal guards of nobility
honor
kind of
guards
thing.
or something.
Yeah.
but you can also tell by the way that they stand that they know how to fight.
Yeah.
There's also some female fire giants working some hearths, doing some cooking in this room as well. And before you are a pair of closed doors, another pair of closed doors, and the giant who brought you in turns to you and says, "Who should I announce?"
Sinrae Dalio and her party.
You want to give the party name?
The
The
company of the broken sword.
Do we? Oh well.
I mean, might as well.
Yeah, the company of
I
the
mean-
broken sword.
We're trying to be polite.
Hmm.
All right. He turns back to the doors and opens them, leading you in. He stands to the side and bellows out, "Company of the Broken Sword, messengers, here to see the Jarl." You see before you a large hall with a very long table. The center of the table sits a stout, very muscular fire giant with black skin and hair of kind of a yellow-orange, but his beard is streaked with gray, and his face is lined. He's clearly, well past his middle years, but he is also very much, not decrepit in any way. You definitely get the impression that he could hold his own in a fight against the younger giants around here. There are at least a dozen other giants in the hall as well, including some non-fire giants who appear to be serving food. Laid out on the table are platters of meats and vegetables in bowls, things like that. And the Jarl, you realize, he's eating a haunch of some sort of large animal meat, at least the size of, Braxon.
That's big.
Wait. Sinrae bows low.
Okay, hold on. I haven't finished describing everything. That's fine. His clothing is trimmed with what appears to be some sort of gray fur, perhaps wolf, and he is wearing a lot of jewelry, gold and silver rings. He's got a circlet as well that clearly indicates his rank. Sitting right on his right side at the table is an ugly old crone of a woman, fire giant. She has a shawl that appears to be made of a single animal pelt that completely covers her head and shoulders. You're not sure what kind of animal it is, but it would be very, very big to do that. She has, leaning against her chair, is a tall, gnarled staff as well, and her eyes appear somewhat milky, but she can still clearly see because she's looking at you. To the Jarl's left is a burly fire giant with braided hair and beard. And he has an eye patch covering one of his eyes. Also the female fire giant has as a necklace a large skull of an animal, looks like a canine of some sort, but significantly smaller than the hellhounds that you've seen. Further down the tables are a number of other figures, mostly men that are, wearing fancier outfits, jewelry, things that are clearly indicating that they have some amount of status in this hall. And standing behind them in the shadows are two figures that you can't make out that are, I mean, they're fire giants of some sort, but they're in the shadows at the moment.
Do I recognize anything that anybody in here that might look like a cleric of Surtur? Like, do they have an open holy symbol out or anything?
Give me a GM roll religion check.
Okay. You think I'm just finding the score? Okay, there we go. And I just use the thing in the... just clicking the roll thing in the character sheet to do that, right?
I can't remember, but you can try it, and if it doesn't work, then you can just do a GM roll d20.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so just do a GM roll d20. At least now we know the score.
Yep.
All right. You don't think you do. So if anyone does have something like that, it's not visible to you. You know, either it's underneath clothing or, you know, again, keep in mind that the table surface is like 4 feet above you at least.
Right.
You know, and they're all looking down over the tables. There's a lot that you can't really see about these figures.
Okay.
So the giant has announced you, and you now stand in the center of this room. It's very warm, actually comfortably warm, as opposed to like hot. Although every single one of these giants appears to be like dressed as if it was cold.
Braxon's going to bow when we come in.
Is this Sinrae?
Higgimus bows
Solas
as well.
will try to follow Sinrae's
I'm
example.
following suit, I guess.
Leva and Ockar?
Yep, she follows the rest.
Okay, Ockar?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if my guy would look favorably upon me dying before fire giants.
Ockar! There was a whispers to Ockar. Come on, Ockar. We are here to achieve something, not to work. Live
Let me
at,
do another religion check to see what my guy would think of this.
Okay, GM roll, please. You know, it's always easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. But you're also ultimately not sure.
I guess I'll follow the others so I don't cause a fight.
Okay. You are a little bit slow at it compared to everyone else, but you do follow suit.
Yeah.
The Jarl kind of only half pays attention to you as he's eating his haunch of meat. There is conversation going on amongst the giants, but in a language that none of you recognize. However, the old female fire giant is clearly watching you intently.
One of us in specific, or all of us?
All of you.
Okay.
Braxon says there's a lot of people in this room. Are we allowed to give this message here?
Let's give it to him in particular. I will see what I can do.
Are you going to speak up and say something?
Yeah, I doubt
It's the hail good Jarl.
He kind of grunts at you in response.
I have a message for you, Jarl. Unfortunately, it is for your ears only.
He puts the meat down and says, "You said it was related to the troubles that we've been having.
Yes,
What
Jarl.
troubles do you speak of?"
Me as a player, I'm going to fumble this, but Sinrae would probably give a vague answer that still hints at what they're there for.
You could fast talk.
Yeah, can we do a fast talk? Can I do that, Ald?
Yeah, but you need to tell me like what you're trying to convey and what you're trying to hide.
She's trying to hide that they're there, that the Oracle sent them, and she's trying to convey that it's about the
We're mediators.
She's trying to give the sense that this is something he definitely does not want the rest of the court to hear, while not making that obvious and hinting that it has to do with the slave trouble they're having.
Okay. Give me a GM roll fast talk proficiency check.
You can do this.
I'm glad I'm not rolling for this.
Yeah.
And what's your score?
My score is fast talk is 15, special.
Oh. Probably means I need to look it up then. All right, hold on.
Depending on what you were trying to do.
I think it might depend on the intelligence of the target too.
Yeah.
No.
So give me a second.
Probably like an opposed roll or something.
No, I think there's just penalties based on the intelligence. And once you mentioned special, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this table. I just need to find it.
He also has to be intelligent enough to receive the message.
There is that too.
He seems smart, kind of.
If he's a leader, he's going to have above average scores than everyone else in the bloody...
Not necessarily.
I imagine he at least has 10 intelligence.
There are definitely instances of countries being ruled by incredibly stupid people.
Yep.
We could say one,
so,
but
let's see. Fast talking, not in that book. Okay.
Have you not heard that in the land of the blind, the one-eyed Cyclops is king?
Not in this place.
Well, this isn't the land of the blind.
This is the land of overwhelming heat.
Old, by the way.
It's in the
yeah, no, I got it. I'm looking at it right now. Yes, Solas.
Is there a difference between thrall and slave in this setting? Since historically thralls were more of serfs.
It would depend on the individual place that you are.
Is this modeled by the Nordic society?
Possibly. You don't know enough about the society to know for sure.
Yeah.
If you go to an illithid city, then slaves are the same word as lunch.
Okay. Okay. All right, I got it. All right, so you try to convey what you said that you conveyed, and he listens to you speak, and then turns to his left and right and speaks in the language that you don't recognize. Which you're obviously like assuming now that he's speaking fire giantish.
Yeah, do all giants speak the same giant language, or are they all unique to
I
each
think they
other?
have variations depending on the giant type.
They tend to be considered like sub-languages. And then there is also an old giantish that...
they all branch out from.
Yeah. But the old giantish is still a language that many of them will use to communicate with each other. And some of them are closer to each other than others, although you don't know enough about giantish to know what's what.
Only one of us knew that language.
Would they be classified as different languages or different dialects?
They're all different languages for the purposes of taking proficiencies. But obviously, like if you were to learn Old Giantish, then you'd be able
You
to
catch a few
communicate
words.
with many of the races, just because some of them would know it. All right, so the Jarl speaks to the giants on his left and right, and then turns to you. You know, they have a clear, short conversation, and go ahead. Well, Sinrae, give me an intelligence check. Trying to decide who I should govern this with. And your intelligence is?
Intelligence is 15.
Oh
Okay.
god.
All right.
Great.
After a few moments of the conversation, the Jarl turns to you and says, "We can speak, but my advisors will stay." He gives a wave with his hand, and much of the room empties out. You can definitely tell that there is some serious grumbling from many of those who are leaving, and dirty looks shot your way, things of that nature.
Of course.
This might be the best
Oh,
we can
good.
get then, right?
Some Thanes took insult.
The giants remaining, besides the Jarl, are the old crone that was sitting on his right, the one-eyed giant to his left, and the two who were in the shadows. They come forward and take a seat. You realize that they're both either late adolescent or early adult. One is male and one is female, and the
Is there a resemblance?
there is definitely a resemblance with the male to the Jarl.
I guess one of them is his son.
The
Yeah.
children don't necessarily take after their parents, but
The if there's a, I mean, if there's a relation between the young woman giant and anyone else there, you can't tell it. But you would definitely say that the young male giant is related to the Jarl in some way. Their hair is the same color, and they have a similar build.
Okay, Sinrae, do your magic.
Well, once everyone has left, so I'm pretty sure I gave you the name of the Jarl, but I'll give it to you again. His name is Tordal. And
Got it.
Tordal?
Tordal,
Tordal, okay.
Yeah. not Turtle.
it's a funny way to say Carol. It's like
I didn't- Turdal, okay.
Tordal.
So
That's his name is
not a
Tordal.
teenager.
Is that some kind of Pokemon?
Tordal.
See, now I'm very tempted to have them start chucking rocks at you, Lafdul.
Oh.
They gotta be painted red and white though, before you start throwing them.
The once everyone has left, Jarl says, "Anything you have to say to me can be heard by my advisors." He introduces the crone to his right as Blathla, and the male to his left with one eye as Farbont, and he introduces him specifically as his war chief. And then, without saying anything about what they are, he introduces the other two, the woman as Gyatla and the male as Tostuder. Now, what is it that is for my ears alone?
What was the war chief's name again?
Tostuder?
No, the war chief, the
Oh.
second guy.
Farbont.
Farbon. Thank you.
Well, you're the messenger, Sinrae. Go ahead.
Sinrae gives another little bow. We come from the Oracle.
That gets the clear attention of the Jarl and the old crone to his right. Like, he was up to that point, he was kind of just. You got the impression that this was a case of, oh, they think they're important. It probably isn't anything important, but
We're the small.
duty requires me to listen to these pitiful, pathetic people. But
And
this
now it's
seems
clearly
to change
changed to,
his,
oh, this
his
is serious.
or at least maybe they
Draws
are right
attention.
when they say it's important, without actually changing his opinion of exactly what you are.
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead. Sinrae?
Yes, she relays what the Oracle told her to say.
Do you not remember exactly what you were wanted to say? Communicate?
Yeah, sorry.
Does anyone
Uh,
else want to?
The Oracle wanted us to basically come and help with the thrall that is causing problems. That was the gist of it.
Yeah.
And that while the Oracle sent us, we are not to be thought as being sent officially by them.
Yeah.
So is there anything extra that you want to add in, like your own spin on things, or any of your own plans, or anything like that?
She relays that they are going to try to help with the issue diplomatically, but before they leave, they will make sure the problem is solved. She's trying to give the Jarl the sense that, oh yeah, we're completely on your side, while not actually saying that, so that if they don't solve it in the way the Jarl would like it, they've still solved the,
I'm sure
Like
the Jarl would
clear?
want us to kick down the doors and start stabbing, but no.
Yeah.
So the way she's saying it, so that she's not telling a falsehood if they wind up helping the thralls.
He listens to you intently, fairly expressionless. Then sits back in his chair and says, "Why do you think or why does the Oracle think that you would be able to take care of this issue where we have not?"
The Oracle said we were an outside party and are neutral and would not be seen as performing a service for you.
And as we are small and
We bring
for
different
some people,
perspectives.
we can possibly get places that your people cannot.
The one-eyed giant leans forward and says, kind of directed at you and the Jarl. He's kind of half turned his head to the Jarl, but he's still looking at you. "My Jarl, it'd be an affront if these small ones did the deeds. It'd be an affront to our honor if they did the deeds while we sit idly here in our hold. I don't think we should let them." The Jarl kind of nods to that, but then turns to the old woman on his right, and she says, "The Oracle, she has the true second sight. If she believes they could do it, I'm inclined to agree. Besides, what do we lose if they fail? The Jarl looks at you and says, as you can see, my advisors are divided. You say that you would handle this diplomatically.
That's our goal.
We would try to handle in a way that would cause the least amount of problems for you.
He nods slowly and says, I do agree a diplomatic solution would be best. Failing that, bringing him in here as a prisoner, alive,
Of course.
that would be also an acceptable solution. He kind of looks to Farbot and says, as Blathla says, we lose nothing if they fail. And if they succeed, who will remember it? We'll have the problem resolved. The one-eyed giant kind of grunts and leans back, folds his arms over his chest. You can tell he is not happy about it, but you definitely get the impression that, you know, my lord has spoken, I have to live with this.
Mm.
He, the Jarl looks back at you and says, I agree with your idea, your plan. It doesn't sound like you are well informed of the details, however.
Oh, we are not. We were highly suggested that we get the details from you, sir.
Yes.
Yes. The issue is that a giant by the name of Antistophus, he has been riling up our thralls, causing them to desert their proper lots in life as servants to us. They are not doing the work that they should be doing, leaving us to fight against our neighbors, as is our birthright. He is talking of overthrowing our rule and spreading it to all the realms on this world. He is a danger not only to us, but to all the others who live here. He is somewhere spinward. Well, no, he wouldn't say spinward. He would probably say... Because you realize that, like, north, south, east, and west don't exactly mean anything on this planet. He gives you a term that takes you a few minutes to figure out, but you realize means, like, in the direction of the hilt away from the glowing part of the head.
Okay.
Right.
So down the shaft.
Not down the shaft, but around the shaft.
That
It's
sounds
not-
kind of dirty, but okay.
It's not up or down the haft of the hammer, but around the circumference. And in a certain direction.
Mhm.
He then says, I know it is in the mountains, but we have not been able to determine its precise location. I would
Right.
recommend stealth and subterfuge,
Yes.
at least to locate the place. You have any further questions? Any other information that I could provide?
Do you have any maps of the area that we could look at?
None that would
Yarnest.
help you.
Thank you.
What? He gave us direction to go in. Did he give us a description of the terrain?
Well, he said mountains.
Essentially?
He said in the mountains.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a...
And the goal of this giant was to overthrow you said.
Yes.
Have they stated any other goals?
Yes, he wishes to overthrow all of the realms on the hammer.
Why would he
Wow.
want to do that?
Oh, yeah,
Obviously,
I think you
he
would
is,
automatically realise that.
Discontent with his lot in life.
Do you have a description of this Antistophist?
No, none of our soldiers have seen him. He speaks through intermediaries.
Right.
Do you know where perhaps any that would support him, even a little, would gather in your city?
In this city, no. Anyone that we catch fomenting his rebellion is executed.
Ah,
See.
And what kind of solution would you like most for this? Just that he goes back to doing what he wants, or
He needs to be made an example of. He needs to turn himself into our authority, tried. If you capture him, that would be suitable as well.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine he'll be given a fair trial, yes?
Oh, certainly, and then executed at the end. Many
so
of my...
Sinrae sort of like it's sort of like is keeping an eye on Ockar, like, oh dear.
Yeah,
Ockar's
it's fair
eyebrow
in
twitches.
their eyes.
He
It's their interpretation of their law.
He also says, we would send out a war party, but many of my people believe that he is being put to this by those who live down near the Oracle and her ilk. It is causing tensions between our lands. I've heard that her people say similar things, that our people are responsible.
Mm-hmm.
Is why
What exactly does he want for the thralls? Does he just want their freedom, or?
Well, that is what he says, but it is more
Braxon
likely he wishes to rule himself.
See.
Sounds about right to me. Sounds like he just wants to take over.
if we were able to negotiate for his, so to speak, surrender, would you accept any concessions on your part for the thralls that have been part of this movement?
Any thralls who've been part of his movement who give themselves up would be allowed back into their proper roles, of course.
See, well, thank you, Jarl.
Okay.
She's Sinrae's getting the sense that the party is going to start asking questions that might be problematic.
I've got several problematic questions, but I'm keeping them to myself right now.
Braxon's going to ask one more question.
Here.
If we can't get him to turn himself in, and he was to, shall we say, disappear, would that be a problem?
Yes. If he were to disappear, his movement, his followers would not disappear.
He might be seen as a martyr.
Right. Okay.
And we don't want that.
We'll try to avoid that. Do you know of any of his followers? Have you got any intelligence on them?
All I know is roughly where we believe him to be. We have yet to find him. He is a cagey one, and the area there is quite rough.
Okay. Sounds like we have a bit of searching to do.
Thank you for your time, Jarl. We will start on this at once. Sinrae gives a bow.
Yeah, Braxton's going to bow as well.
Apologize for interrupting mealtime.
Leva's bowing, but not as deeply as when they entered. She's sort of muttering to herself, but not so that people would understand.
With a wave of his hand, the Jarl clearly dismisses you, and the young male fire giant goes to the doors to open them to allow you to leave.
Okay.
And the giants converse with each other in their own language. You can tell that the one-eyed giant is kind of heated in his statements.
Fucker's just gonna
Did
walk
any of
out.
them look nervous in the room? Any of the giants?
No.
Like they might be, hidden in plain sight.
Not that you noticed. Not that you
Excellent.
noticed.
Because there's only a few in there.
Yeah, I mean, there was only 5.
Sinrae thanks the giant that opened the door for them. And
Although, Lafdul, give me an intelligence check.
It was more of a case of, are any of them acting the part?
Control intelligence.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
let him continue. He can continue.
Basically, what I'm getting at is we might be going on a wild goose chase, going out all the way into the wilds when the person who is responsible is actually in the room. That's what I'm thinking.
Hmm.
That's why I'm saying, is anyone looking out of place? Do you want a GM roll? Or...
Yeah, GM roll.
Is it GM roll together? One word.
Yeah.
And
what's your score?
13.
Okay. All right. You you don't notice that any of them seemed out of place or nervous or anything like that.
All right.
All right. So you are escorted out of the hall. For you, it is getting kind of late because you did spend you just got off of 9 hours on the flitter and everything like that. So many of you are getting a little tired.
Yeah, let's not sleep in a. Although, are we considered like honored guests, so to speak?
Not really.
Or diplomatic community, maybe?
No, I think we're better off camping.
All
Yeah,
right.
we should leave and go camp in the woods or something.
Braxton says we should get back to our camp.
I'd
You
rather not
don't
stay
have a
here any
camp.
longer than I have to.
I haven't camped yet.
Braxon meant possibly the flitter.
We camp at the flitter, or are we camping away from the flitter?
No, Braxton said we should get back to our camp to the others. He wasn't saying where we should set up a camp. He was telling people we should go back to our camp.
Right, let's just leave and talk about it once we get into the woods. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, obviously I wasn't saying that.
I'm
In
not going to say
character.
anything that I can't say in character.
All right. Well, maybe I should be more disciplined with what I say. All right, then I guess we go to camp.
As soon as we walk out and are out of hearing of the giants, Leva speaks up and she says, "We're not going to do that.
Yeah, agreed.
Sinrae glances
I will not participate in getting slaves back to their slavers. Sorry, but I'm not going to do that."
Sinrae
Oh,
glances
yeah, there's a lot of us.
Yeah.
So
Well, hang on,
Sinrae-
probably-
Hang on. So we're back in the woods, are we, at this time?
I don't know. As far as I know, you're still outside the hall.
We leave.
No, we're
No,
leaving.
no,
We're
you're gonna
heading
leave.
out.
Bra-
Yeah,
Braxton,
You're going to
Right,
ask the
Braxton.
giants for an escort out of town.
Braxon's
Yeah.
not saying anything until we get out of town.
Okay.
Yeah, we're getting out of town.
And until we're long gone.
All right. So the giants, hold on. The giants escort you out of town. You get more insults hurled at you. Jokes about your height and stature and things of that nature. But they finally leave you outside of town, and the gates creak closed behind you.
Braxon thanks them as they leave.
All right, so you're standing outside the walls now.
Oh, we're gonna
walk
head
into the
off
woods.
to the woods.
Okay.
And Sinrae is going to surreptitiously keep glancing back to see, just to make sure.
You would hear them, Lafdul would say, as he picks up.
No, I meant
two rather stealthy ones.
No, they were just children that were out of sight, but to observe and to learn.
Can anyone tell if we're being
Probably
scryed?
I was trying to say.
Hold on, guys. You're over talking each other. Sinrae.
I was trying to say so that if somebody starts talking, like if Leva starts talking about not wanting to put them slaves, she can see if somebody's is overhearing them.
Okay.
I did mention that as soon as we are out of their hearing. So no, they can't hear me because we were out of their hearing.
Yes, but just because we think we're out of their hearing doesn't mean we are. So she's just trying to cover bases.
Okay. Once we are in the woods, we are out of their hearing, unless some of the giants are very, very stealthy.
Or scrying on us.
Yes.
Actually.
But as a player, I have a question just for Old's ruling.
Mm-hmm.
Would lawful good characters oppose the serf/thralls that the Nordic kind of medieval ages had?
Well, keep in mind that you're not just going to go in and, like if you're in a land that even has other slavery, you would not necessarily act out against it. You might talk about it and stuff like that, but you're not going to do something that gets yourself killed just because of that kind of thing.
It's more like it's basically
this is general because I want to be able to know how I would play Solas' reaction about thralls versus slaves.
You would definitely not like it.
Okay.
But the straw thing, is it more like a serfdom kind of thing instead of like
it's more of a serfdom.
You are not sure.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they're slaves. Lafdul, what were you gonna say?
You gotta look on the alternative. If he's not brought in, so to speak, how many people will die?
Yeah, we don't want a war breaking out.
Yeah, the definite impression that you've gotten is that if this continues, a war will break out between two realms that I'm pretty sure I told you had a hard-fought peace.
Yeah, you said that last time. And neither party really trusts each other.
Right.
So even though we don't like it,
so there might be.
We're still gonna have to capture this guy just so we can stop a war.
And sometimes peace between sometimes peace between a realm that advocates against something is more likely to get the other place to give it up later.
Yeah.
But
in the long run, this will be better because one side is against this whole thrall thing. So if they continue to have peace, then eventually the fire giants might change their ways.
You're gonna have a hard time convincing Leva of that.
Also, since both parties are accusing each other of this, and the Oracle, who is clearly on the side of the other realm, asked us to deal with this, it would seem that there is a third party possibly behind this.
I thought the third party was the guy we're trying to capture.
Yeah, but like the Jarl said that it seems like someone is behind him.
You know what?
I-
You know what? We started down this whole route because Higgimus wants some special metal to make guns out of. So the stakes for us is getting some special metal or not.
Well,
And we're being asked to grab some guy that wants to change this planet and free slaves from fire.
We don't know if he really does. It's possible he's just
Yeah.
trying to take over control for himself and is using this whole slave rebellion. As a
And like
front
I said, he might be just figurehead for some shadowy
yeah.
figures that control him from
that-
He could be
behind.
going around saying, "I'll free all of you," but instead
That's-
it's using them as free soldiers for his attempt to usurp command.
That's
Serve
possible.
another leader.
And
That's
also,
possible.
if we do not do anything, there is very likely a war between the two realms.
That's possible, and that is what I said in there. But my personal opinion is that I don't like people that take slaves.
All right,
And
Sinrae,
so
if
none of us do.
if there was a war and those fire giants got taken out, and there was another society that didn't have slaves, I don't see that as worse.
But
we
the
don't want-
problem is
hold up. Sinrae said that she's been trying to say something.
I've been trying to say something. Sinrae is pretty much going to say we shouldn't be trying to figure out the morality of this or what we're going to do until we actually find this person and talk to him and figure out what's going on from
Yeah.
there. For all we know, he really is trying to free the slaves and
Well-
say him taking the throne.
Mm.
Then there's not a war because he's now the Jarl. So
Yeah,
let's
we don't have his position
let-
on things
we-
yet, and he
we
could
don't
just be a
have-
complete asshole.
the information. And no, I don't like that they have slaves either, but we don't have all the information yet. We can't make a plan yet.
Yeah.
Also about Braxon, about that that the war might be lesser evil because it might wipe the fire giant leadership out. It could also lead to the situation where the fire giants win and there is more slaves
Yeah.
or thralls.
That's
Well,
true.
it
Also,
could,
fire
it,
giants
it
tend to
couldn't, it
Tend to
could,
be
and,
very,
yeah, and
very
it might,
skilled
and
fighters.
Which
And
is why
we
we
can,
need
we
to.
can talk might and could and whatever
is why
for
we-
the next hour, but
which is
but
why
the fact is
we-
we don't have the information. There's no point in talking about it right now, talking it through. But I can tell you from Leva's point of view, she is not going to participate in getting slaves back. Full stop. So
Alright.
and from everything she's heard so far, she is definitely on the side of the person who has been known to free slaves.
I
Yeah.
think most of us are on that side, but we
don't
can't
have-
just
We don't have any information on him.
just go off. We can't just go off half cocked about this.
Yeah.
In any case, I think we're all tired. Camp.
And
Do we want to move the
I'd-
flitter a bit further out, or do we just want to make camp here?
I would say unless this Antistophist is some sort of con man who is tricking the slaves, I'd be on his side.
Here's my perspective. Here's my perspective. I don't trust either side because they're both fire giants and they're both known for being rather evil and doing
We
things
don't-
for their own ambitions.
Hold on. The giants that you first encountered back with the Oracle, they were most certainly not fire giants.
I'm not talking about them. I'm talking
Okay.
about this Antithesis and the Jarl.
Okay.
We have
Fair
no idea if Antithesis is a fire giant.
It sounded like since if he's a fire giant, then I'm just gonna not. Then I'm going to take whatever he says with a grain of salt. But if he's not, then I'll maybe listen a bit closer.
Well, in any case, we should make camp.
Yeah.
We're all tired and fighting amongst ourselves about this right now isn't going to save any slaves.
What
Mhm.
or keep
I wanna
any
say
peace.
in that
Yes.
I do think everyone needs to have their opinions known, just so we've got that out the way with we know where everyone is on the playing field.
Yeah.
Because there's a
agree.
lot of second guessing each other. And we need to know who's doing what or how who feels about what.
Yeah.
agree.
Each in turn.
Ockar's opinion: he hates fire giants, but he doesn't want a war to break out. And he also is not a fan of slavery, but he thinks that in the long run, peace will solve that issue in the long run.
It's also the law. If it's also the law of the land, that would.
Yeah. So Ockar's on the side that he hates the situation, but he sees one side as being more positive than another side at the moment.
One side has more positive possibilities.
Yeah, he sees the long game as being more positive on one side than on the other.
Also,
But that's just Ockar's opinion.
yeah, Solas shares that opinion pretty much, that he hates the idea of slavery, but war could cause much worse situation for all, even the slaves.
Yeah.
You know, we rescued a bunch of slaves before, and I think everyone thought it was better to die free than to live as a slave.
The
And that's
slave
why they
situation
fought.
here is a bit more complicated than just fighting slavers.
I don't see that it is.
I agree.
The only thing that is in doubt for me right now is this guy that we've been told is trying to take over. Is he really trying to free the slaves, or is he just planning to trick them into fighting for him and then he's going to enslave them? If he's going to be the same as the others, we don't need it to even get involved. We could just walk away from it. And if there's a war, that's their problem. But if this guy is going to make things better than that city where people were walking around with collars tattooed with slave tattoos, then I'd be more inclined to be on his side than to take him prisoner.
Sinrae has been contemplating whether or not Lafdul can make a herbal remedy for the Jarl's foot.
Why do you always refer to me?
That would poison him. That's why I was referring to you.
Are you lawful? Aren't you like a good? You wouldn't think that.
I am neutral good, and he's keeping slaves and executing people for leaving
That wouldn't be
other
on your
things.
moral compass, the poison.
If it would get a good regime, a good leader in.
No.
Isn't that like a lawful evil?
Yeah, doing an evil act to get what you consider a good end is not a good act.
Yeah.
That wouldn't work if we
consider it evil, but
but
Lafdul's opinion on this situation.
Well, the morally grey person that's been quiet.
Yeah, let's have our morally grey person give his opinion.
I think my opinion is restore the status quo. It's not ideal, but it will change. We can't act as we're not gods. We shouldn't try to control or act as, I don't know, we're acting over our ability, so to speak, I think. We're putting, I don't know, it's...
I think I get what you mean.
I don't know how to put it into words, because I know what I want to say. It's basically we're acting out of our purview, I think, by trying to change up an entire society.
And we don't know if what we think is best would actually be best for these people.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying that's true, because we just don't know now.
We don't know what the possible ramifications could be if we acted out.
Well,
don't forget, we don't have to do anything here. We could get in our ship and fly away.
At the end of the day, we're doing this just so the Oracle tell us about another thing.
We would also need. I think what we need most of all is Higgimus' opinion, but he's not here mentally.
Also, keep in mind that this is part of a goal to get a dwarven relic back, a holy relic back to the dwarven people, and
Which is definitely good act.
those dwarves and that dwarven god are, those are definitely good people. So.
And I doubt we're gonna be able to get what we need from the Oracle unless we figure this out.
Yeah, so we just need to find this person, then act about the morality. Then just concentrate on finding the person.
Yeah, it's hard to come up with anything without knowing the full picture.
So far, it seems like we're pretty split.
Okay,
let's make camp and sleep on it and see if we can't find him and figure it out from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but the Oracle wanted us to solve the problem. If we got rid of that plague,
he wanted us to solve the problem diplomatically, if possible.
Talking in
Oracle
circles.
just doesn't want a war.
Because wars have innocent victims.
Yeah. The biggest part is no war.
So we're talking in circles. Let's make camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's make camp.
Oh, I've got my create campsite spell. Yay, me.
Hey,
thinking.
Lafdul.
Are you making camp near the flitter? Are you going like maybe half an hour or an hour in the direction of the way that you want to go and then making camp? What are you doing?
We're going to head in the directions of the mountains we want to go and then make camp.
Sinrae had asked that, but nobody.
Is everyone agreeing to that?
How far?
Sure.
How far were the
are we going to move the flitter?
I want to put on the table. Do you want me to use a spell on the flitter? I want to know if you want me to cast Plant Growth on it. Yes or no? Just straight up.
Do you have that spell prepared?
Not now. That's why I want to be resting near it.
You would not be able to cast Plant Growth on the flitter itself. You could cast Plant Growth
around
on the plants,
it,
right?
literally.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, to literally make it so entangled. Yeah, it would be a pain to get it out, but it would almost certainly be hidden.
But
I'd rather
not.
not.
We want it to not be a pain to get out in case we need to run away for some reason.
Let's not try to hide the flitter again until we've gotten further up the mountains. Unless
Well, you're not
see a map.
You're not using
That's
the flitter
just-
right
using
now.
it.
It's still hidden.
Yeah.
My question is, do you guys go camp near the flitter, or do you camp away from the flitter, or do you want to do something further with the flitter?
At least, if we camp here, at least a distance that there is no possible damage to flitter in combat situation.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
easy enough.
Yeah, let's not get too near the flitter in case.
And plus, the flitter can only be manned. They would just simply destroy it, I would say,
Okay.
because the flitter can't be manned by the giants.
Do we want to fly a half hour closer to our destination before we rest?
Yeah, I guess.
I wouldn't mind doing that. Yeah.
From the
a bit farther
description
from
of
the city.
the giants, the area that you're going to is very, very rugged. You're not sure that flying around that area would help you find it.
Could we at least take off and move so that anyone tracking us couldn't follow us to the flitter? So that when we land, there's no trail leading to the flitter from the place we just come from. If that makes sense.
I'm not really following you. I mean,
what I
He
mean
wants
is
to move the flitter so that
hang on.
Yeah, let me
explain. Let me explain. What I'm saying is, if the fire giants follow us, they send someone to follow us, they will possibly be able to trace us back to the flitter. Whereas if we took the flitter off and we flew for half an hour and we land in a different place and they follow us back, they find the place where the flitter was. And there's no way to follow us any further.
We could also just have Lafdul cover our tracks.
No, I'm saying if we take the flitter off, move to a different part of the planet that's nearby and land, we cannot be tracked at all.
Well,
no matter how good a ranger they send.
You can be tracked from the new trail that you're making.
We can, yes, but not by the people that we just met. Because they wouldn't be finding that trail. Because that trail would not be going to their campsite.
So Solas is of the opinion that we take the flitter and go as near as we can to the mountain nose area, but land the flitter in the forests and camp there.
I agree with Solas.
Yeah, that's what I agree with.
Yeah.
I suppose that's what...
It'll cut down our travel time by hours, I imagine.
And since it's, like Old said, that we wouldn't be able to spot them from the flitter in the mountains, we have to then just move ourselves in the mountains and leave flitter in the forest.
If you remember, they said that it would be like half an hour by their standards. That could be like hours for us. So I think maybe the flitter closer to the mountains would be better.
No one said anything about a half an hour by their travel.
Also, who would be piloting it? Would Sinrae still be piloting it?
No, she can't. She's done.
Yeah, so basically it'd be one of
I'm
us.
done.
I'm not too keen on giving up my spells. In all honesty.
I mean, if you do this before you camp, that's less of an... Well, no, actually that is an issue.
How long it takes to get all my spells.
You would lose access to your spells for the following 24 hours.
We could have Leva do it.
But again, she's losing access to her spells for the following 24 hours.
Yeah, then we should probably camp.
Do we still have that potion of spelljamming?
Back on the
that's
ship.
an emergency. It's on the ship. I say we just walk.
Okay, well, if we're going to camp, then I would suggest that we camp before we get near the flitter, and that we take the flitter off the next day and land. And if we wait a day, that's fine.
Okay.
What I mean is, I'm strongly suggesting that we move the flitter so that the giants cannot track us to the flitter.
Okay.
Old, based on the time difference, what we have.
Oh right, I just.
Hold on. Solas, finish.
Compared to the giants, could we estimate how long it would take to walk to the place? They said, since they did give us a distance.
They gave you a very rough distance.
Yeah.
But you think it would take a day and a half to walk their general area, to get to the general area. Beyond that, you have no idea how long it would take to actually find what you're looking for.
Yeah, so the best thing is that we camp here for the night, and tomorrow Sinrae flies us there with the flitter, and we save more time that way.
Right. I just remembered something. I'm going to hold out my hand and call back my spear that I hidden somewhere, so I don't forget it.
It was, either you were carrying it with you or you left it in the flitter.
Okay.
I mean, you didn't leave it anywhere else, so.
They didn't confiscate our weapons.
And we already figured that it can do a very long distance, so.
So where are you camping? Are you camping near the flitter so that you can move it the next day?
No. Braxon wants to stop us before we get anywhere near the flitter, so that if anyone's following us...
Right, as far as I'm concerned, you're slowly walking away from the town right now, because I have not figured out where you're camping. That has not been determined to my satisfaction.
We are camping some distance away from the flitter, but so that it's not damaged if we are discovered and have to be in combat.
Okay, that's
We're going
very
to the woods,
easy
but
to do. That's very easy to do. I mean, that
But
gives you
we are
huge
let's
swaths
just do
of
it.
places
too
to
far
camp.
away from the flitter.
We're talking in circles again. Let's just do it.
Well,
Yeah.
right, but partly it's because people suggest things that I've then gotten the impression that those people have assumed are what the party is doing without the party confirming that they're doing that. And I need that confirmation. So, all right, so you're going somewhere else. Do you want to go in the direction that they would expect you to be going? Like the direction that they told you?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the next morning, you're definitely going to go to the flitter and fly it
Yes.
elsewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is the plan then, once you land, to spend a day camping to ensure that Sinrae can use her...
Yes.
Yeah, no, actually, this is going to be a problem because she can't be on the helm again for 24 hours, so...
Oh, yeah.
You'd have to wait, like, at least half a day after resting before you could move the flitter.
We can do that. We're gonna spend time. We're gonna spend time covering it up again anyway.
Okay. All right. So, you guys settle down to camp. Lafdul, are you going to cast your create campsite?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you make camp, get ready to eat a meal, and that's where we'll take our break.
Again, that's because I was getting hungry in real life.
I haven't even eaten anything before the game started. I was on sort of my inventory and my weight, so.
So we'll be back in about 10 minutes or so.